So what's the difference between a will and a trust?
So great question. So both are legal documents, right? Both say I would like for XYZ person to get my stuff. But the trust gives you more control than the will, right? So the trust not only lets you say who and what, but when and how, right? Where the will only says who and what. Not only that, a trust...
Welcome to Conversations with Verdel Jones, where we share informative and enlightening conversations and empower your passion with purpose. I am so thrilled that you have joined us. Today we're talking about something that often gets pushed to the back burner, planning for the future. Whether it's protecting your business or your home or your family's financial security and really your legacy, preparing today can make a difference for tomorrow. So joining me is Sabine Franco. She is the managing attorney and owner of the Ambitious Legacy firm. Sabine and her team help clients create businesses, protect their assets, and plan legacies so they can pursue their purpose with confidence. And she's also an author of Richer Than You Think. I hope that's true. And she has her own podcast as well called the Ambitious Legacy Podcast. So welcome to Conversations with Verdel Jones.
Thank you, Verdel. Thank you for having me.
I am really excited to have this conversation. I think it's so important. Before we got on, we were talking about more people being open to this conversation, but we have to get the word out there. So I'm so happy that we're going to do that today.
Yes, likewise.
So you're passionate about helping families and entrepreneurs build lasting legacies.
Yes.
Not just through wealth, but through purpose. So how can, if you could give me an example of how people can start planning for their future with some of the services that you provide.
Yeah, sure. So typically what we like to do is find out what's important to each individual, each family or business owner, whoever it is that we're planning for, right? So we go through a process where we do like a legacy evaluation. We ask a bunch of questions about like, what's your family dynamics like? What do you envision for your children? Are there values and things that you want to pass down? Like, what are your fears? Are you concerned with taxes? So we kind of go through a whole host of questions to try to paint the picture. It's sort of like a discovery session to try to find out what's important to you. And then we work sort of backwards into making sure that we can cover all those bases and create something that's personal for each individual. Because even though there can be two individuals with similar financial wealth, similar lifestyle, if their goals are different, then what we're going to do and recommend for them is going to be different.
Right.
You know, so.
So you might have a family that says, I don't want to leave my children anything.
Correct.
And you might have a family that says, I want to leave it for them all.
Yes.
I want to leave everything for them, right?
Yes,
so
correct.
yeah, it really does depend on all of those things that you mentioned. So you do a deep dive really into that. I love that process because it gives voice. It's like it makes it live.
Yes,
you know?
Yes. It's not sort of like one size fits all, but it allows us to really custom tailor a plan for each person.
Right. So what made you get into this estate planning, legacy kind of building area of law?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's definitely been a journey. I've been practicing for 14 years. And when I first started, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do within the law. I ended up, right after I graduated law school, me and my husband were expecting our daughter. So that really threw like a curveball in my story. And so what I ended up doing is prior to law school, I worked in the mortgage industry. And so when I became a lawyer, I did a lot of real estate transactions. And I had a passion for working with small businesses because I just felt like that was something that was calling me. So I worked in small businesses, I worked in real estate, and I had an opportunity to speak to a lot of people. I was part of a tour where I was speaking to people about asset protection and how to own real estate and protect it and all that stuff. And what that opportunity did for me was it opened up it educated me on the fact that there was a huge void, especially in communities of color, with the knowledge about estate planning, how to properly transfer your properties, how to properly protect the assets that you have, and make sure that not only does it serve your life, but also can serve the next generation.
Right.
Because what happens is, because we didn't have this as a fabric of our communities, every generation starting from scratch.
Wow.
Right? Grandma's house gets lost, everybody's starting from scratch, or that we're not educated, like, especially Caribbean cultures. People know for some reason to come here and acquire real estate, right? But then what, right? And so either we're not having the conversations of how do you pay down your property faster? How do we properly deed it over? Or how do we properly create either a will or a trust or something so that the next generation gets it? And then when they get it, do they know what to do with it and how to maintain it? So this void was there, and I said, oh my God, like, I was doing a little bit of estate planning, but I said, no, this needs to be like a microphone, like and so that's what got me really, fortified in my education in this area, and then fully just like promoting it and helping as many families as I could.
And why your own business, your own company, your own gig? Like, what made you want to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, Verdel, you're trying to get all up in my business now. No, you know what? So, like I told you, I worked in corporate a little bit before I went to law school, and I just went from one job to another job. Even though I was making good money, at around 24 years old, I just wasn't fulfilled. And I kind of had in my mind, like, I saw like how the partners and the higher executives had more freedom in their control of their schedule and things like that. And I said, I wanted that. I wanted to be the business, right? And so that's what kind of motivated me to say, I'm going back to school. I'm going to go to law school and get my degree, and here we are.
Wow. Yeah.
Be careful what you
exactly.
Easy.
But sometimes when you have that passion and you have that desire, you can't keep that down, right? It has to come out somewhere.
Absolutely.
And we were also talking before we got started. Your name is synonymous with estate planning and helping individuals protect their legacy. So that's a great thing. That's a great thing. You are the expert in this field in our area, and I could maybe argue to say throughout the tri-state area. So thank you.
I'm honored. Thank you so much.
And it's greatly appreciated, because you have to have somebody who's willing to get that information and share with others.
Right.
So you took on that charge, and we're very grateful and blessed for it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, many people avoid thinking about estate planning because it feels uncomfortable. It's too soon. When do I do this? Why is preparing for the future every family should start thinking about now?
Great question. So the long and short of it is that we don't know when.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know when, things happen, unfortunately, at any moment. And actually preparing gives you a peace of mind, right? So a lot of times people think that if I plan, I'm putting myself in the ground, or if I plan, I'm asking for things to happen, but it's really not the case. And the other thing, when you said, mentioned the title of my book, You're Richer Than You Think, it's so profound, and it shows up for me every day, because when I speak to clients, oftentimes when they go through that exercise, we also look at all of their assets, and they realize that they have more than they had anticipated, because they're not counting all of the things. Right. So their real estate, their retirement, their life insurance, their bank accounts. And then oftentimes if you there's so many people who left one job, went to another, and they had retirement accounts there and then forgot about it and never rolled it over. So these type of things, they're like, oh, I forgot I had this, I forgot I had that. And so we have so much, and if something happens tomorrow, it'd be nice to have an inventory so your family doesn't have to dig through boxes and try to access emails and all that stuff. And also you could put yourself and them in the best position by doing it ahead of time, because it's usually more cost effective for you to plan and do it than it is for them to have to potentially hire a lawyer, go to court, and do all this stuff.
Yeah. So let's just get into the difference between a will and a trust, because most people know what a will is. I write things down that I want people to have, and then they just get it.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily the case. So what's the difference between a will and the trust?
So great question. So both are legal documents, right? Both say I would like for XYZ person to get my stuff. But the trust gives you more control than the will, right? So the trust not only lets you say who and what, but when and how, right? Where the will only says who and what. Not only that, a trust does not require what we call probate. You do not have to take a trust to court, let the judge, put the person that you've selected in charge. With a trust, the person who you selected as your successor just automatically steps in if you were to pass away. With a will, like I alluded to, you have to take that document. Basically, a will is instructions to a court as to what to do with your assets. And so it has no power without the authority of the court. And also the court has a lot of what we call discretion. They can make their decisions. They have a lot of leeway, right? And so it could be that what you stated in your will is not what actually happens, right? So you can have, and this happens all the time, where you have people contest the will. You've heard that. The will is contested. So if someone doesn't like what the will says, and they'll be in a better position if the will didn't exist. One, they could destroy it. But two, if it does make its way to court, they can now say, well, I don't think that they were in their right mind when they wrote this will. I don't think that they really meant this. I think they forgot, whatever it is. And so the court has to listen to that. And so whether they go with that decision or not, it's going to take time and it's going to cost more money and more delay. And sometimes that weighs on whoever is dealing with this process, and sometimes they give up. You know? So with a trust, you alleviate that entire show, that can happen.
So with the trust, so when you think of a will, I don't know why in my mind I think of gold jewelry or I don't know, a picture or something like that. With a trust, I always jump to real estate. Okay. Is a trust any type of asset that the individual has?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not just for real estate, although real estate is a big motivating factor because it's kind of hard to deal with and tends to be the most valuable asset that most of us have. However, you can leave your real estate, you can leave your retirement accounts, your bank accounts, your life insurance, particularly, and also your things like art or jewelry, family heirlooms. Particularly, when you have young children, a trust is really ideal because now you are able to, when you have young children, they cannot receive inheritances. So they have to wait till they're adults to receive it. So if you pass away and you leave young children and there are assets that they should have, that ends up going through the court. Right? If you do not put it in a trust, because the court is going to have to then put a custodian in charge of those things, and then that costs money, and that tends to take away from the assets. So if you were to put it in trust and you say, all right, I want my trust to own my house, and whatever accounts that are valuable, I want them to ultimately go to my children. Because my children are not old enough, I want my sister to be the trustee. So your sister now manages those assets until your children are of age. Right. Some people tell me, well, I'm just going to leave it to my sister because I know she'll take care of my kids. So I'm going to leave it to my mom because I know they'll take care of my kids. Well, guess what? They don't have to. Right. There's no legal obligation once you leave an asset to someone that's theirs. And so you can imagine the stories that come out of that.
You have to make sure that you... So, all right, so with a will, why? Right?
Why do people do a will?
Right.
Okay, so Verdell's like, I don't get it. So one is, if you do have small children, you also need a will because that's the only way you can actually leave legal guardians. Right? So you're going to need that. And then when we do a trust, we also do a will as a safety net because if there was something your trust did not own or control, that still goes through your estate, right? So we want something to sort of be there to direct where you at least wanted that to go, right? And when you combine a will and a trust that way, the court process is a lot quicker because you're telling the court, I don't really want you to make decisions. I don't want you to, go through this whole process. I just want this person to get authority to transfer my asset to the trust and then let the trust deal with it. Right? Wow. So a will... And I would say historically, it's like the basic document, right? But
Okay.
historically, the field of law was not always created for, us, I would say. And so there was a time, and I shouldn't even say that because a lot of people go through the probate process, right? And it doesn't matter what color you are or where you come from. A lot of families have been, disadvantaged from it. And so what used to happen is that attorneys would create wills, and then as a business, you would have to go back to them to probate that will, right? They would keep the original, you have to go back and probate the will, right? And then, yeah. And so there goes your retirement because you have all these wills that you've done. So that was one thing. The other thing is, trust planning is a little bit more costly than creating a will. However, you're doing the work up front versus your family having to deal with that process in the end. So, and the information just wasn't available. So most people thought, if I do a will, that's it. I'm good. Most people don't even know that a will has to be probated.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, they don't. And I did not really understand that until my mother had to go through that. My father had to go through that with their parents. But they got trusts. Because they knew an individual who was savvy with that, and they got a trust, so they didn't have to go through all of that.
Awesome,
So I was able to get that knowledge from them, and they got it from someone else. It's just really sharing information is so important. It really is.
Yes.
So just in reference to creatives, educators, or entrepreneurs, what steps should purpose-driven professionals like this take to safeguard their work and ensure it benefits future generations? Because now you're talking about the business side of it, really, and how can they do that?
Yeah, so if we're talking about entrepreneurs, business owners, and things of that nature, one is to create what we call a succession plan. So in addition to doing your foundational estate planning, so your will, your trust, your healthcare proxy, your power of attorney, making sure you have your basics down. Then you want to think about, okay, what's going to happen to the business in the event that I'm not here? So a lot of us have sole proprietorships, right? And so you want to know, okay, if there's no one who wants to run the sole proprietorship, like I have clients who are realtors and they're like, nobody wants to do real estate, or I'm in insurance, nobody wants to do insurance. So you just want to have a way for someone to be able to step in and maybe sell the business, sell the assets, find a way that you could at least take some of that value out of the business, because even if your child or whoever your family member doesn't want to be a realtor or an insurance person, well, they can sell that book of business, right? There's value in what you've built. There's value in the name, right? You can make sure that you own the name of your business, right, through a trademark, so that you have that piece of the value that can be sold or exchanged, right? So you kind of want to just have that thought process, and then you want to have it documented on what happens next if I'm not here tomorrow. Can someone get into the bank account to run payroll?
Wow.
If there are employees, you know what I mean? Can we pay the bills and make sure whatever my family could get, they can get, and sell off the rest, or whatever the case is? So there is a process to just evaluating all that.
That's really a lot to think about. As a business owner, I'm sure people know about that, but as a small business owner, you might not think about all those steps.
Correct.
And you always think you have time.
Yes.
Everybody always has time, right?
Nobody thinks. Verdel, let me tell you, about 4 years ago, I was 38 years old, and I had gotten diagnosed with a form of cancer.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was completely out of the blue. Like, I was being very persistent with my doctors, something's just not right. And they kept saying, it's probably nothing, you're young. I got a lot of that because I look young, even though, which I'm not mad at, but, I got that a lot. And so being persistent, I ended up finding out I got it super early. Thank God. I didn't have to do all the stuff that people have to go through. Yes, amen. And, but that shook me to my core.
I'm sure it did.
So I'm like, we don't know. I wasn't even sick.
Right.
We just don't know. So I don't know. I think God, it was a gift from God to give me that sort of understanding and increase my passion about what I'm doing, because I know that this is real.
It matters.
It matters. Yeah.
Wow. Oh boy. Okay, that's a lot.
I know.
So for that, we're running out of time. Okay. I want to ask one more question, and then we're going to do a quick fire round.
Okay.
So for those watching who have not started any kind of planning yet, no planning.
Yes.
What's one simple first step that they can take today to start protecting their legacy?
Sure. Okay. So first step you could do, write down all of your assets. You could even, if you want to just create like a spreadsheet or something, write down all of your assets, your account numbers, the amounts that you have in there, username and password. Step one, right? That'll be a huge help for your family.
Yeah.
But once you have that, you can you'll have an idea of like, what is it that I have? Most states do have a very basic bare bones healthcare proxy power of attorney.
Yeah.
So if you're in, just look up in your state, like Georgia, healthcare proxy, see if you can find at least your state's bare bones. That way you can at least have that in place if you sign in and put whatever. And then if you're ready for a next level, comprehensive coverage plan, you can reach out to me.
That's right. That's right. Quick fire. Thank you for that. I love that. Very easy.
Yeah.
Easy first step.
Yeah.
I think you guys can handle that.
Yeah.
All right. I think I can handle that. I need to call you. Okay. Quick fire round.
Yes.
What is your superpower as the purpose lawyer?
All right. So my superpower, I don't know if they're intertwined, but like I'm a great listener, and I help people to feel comfortable and vulnerable. So I hold space for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
What's a daily habit that keeps you grounded?
Ooh, prayer. Yes,
Changes
prayer,
things,
5 a.m. prayer every day. Yes. It's very helpful.
And finish this sentence. My legacy will be.
Ooh. My legacy will be helping other families pass the baton.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sabine, for reminding us that building legacy isn't just about wealth, but it is about protecting your legacy. So people need to reach out to you.
Yes.
So let them know where they can contact you right in there.
Yeah, so you can find me on my website, theambitiouslegacyfirm.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Sabine the Purpose Lawyer. And what else? You can email me at legacy@theambitiouslegacyfirm.com.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great conversation. I really could talk to you for hours about this because it's so needed. So thank you for spending time with us to discuss this.
You're very welcome. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So if you have not gotten started with your legacy planning and making sure you protect it, please reach out to Sabine. She gave you her contact information. Reach out to her. And you can also start with those simple steps that she just outlined as well. I want to thank everybody for watching Conversations with Verdel Jones. We are about empowering your passion and bringing it to reality, and also just sharing valuable information. So remember, in the words of Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach, and when you get, give. And if you enjoyed our conversation today, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you will never miss an episode. I'm your host, Verdel Jones, and we'll see you next time.